And we're live. Hey guys, sorry we're a couple of minutes late. We had a few gremlins in the works, just a little runoff from last week, but we are back. Thank you so much for joining us on Mindset Live. Tonight we have some more ghostly evidence to explore. I hope you'll enjoy it. Thank you so much for coming by. If you tuned in last week, you know the problems that we had. A lot of things worked through, but I think, fingers crossed, knock on wood, all that good stuff, we should be good for today's show. So without further ado, let me introduce the rest of the gang. Let's shoot straight over to Steve Genier, the creator and host of Nocturnal Frequency. Hello, Steve.
Hey, Gareth, how are you?
Doing great, man. Great to have you on board. Are you all ready for this ghostly evidence number 2?
I'm always ready. Always ready.
Always. Speaking of always being ready, let's shoot over to Alex Rondini, the co-host of Nocturnal Frequency. Hello, Alex.
Good evening, folks.
Good evening.
Good evening. I don't have my fangs on. Sorry.
Maybe next time we should do. I was thinking we should do a vampire show one week. That would be fun.
We can.
All right.
Do like a vampire show. In the background there, you're here, of course, the one, the only. The legend, the man, the myth, the legend, Mr. Justin Villarreal. Hello, Justin.
Good morrow, everyone.
Good morrow. Good morrow, Professor. How are you? Yes, it's wonderful to be
very
here.
well. Drinking my green ale tonight.
You got green ale? It's not St. Patrick's Day. What are you doing?
No, it's
Hey,
I'm a little late.
Chat wants to know if you brought the beer, Gareth.
Well, we gotta have beer on a night like this, dude. I have my beverage of choice here ready to go. Let's show everyone.
We all got our.
We all got our beers.
Cheers.
There you go. Cheers. A virtual cheers. Cheers.
Yeah, cheers.
Cheers to all the viewers watching on this wonderful Monday night, this quarantine Monday night, the quarantine that never seems to end.
Yeah, we're still in this.
We're in what, phase 2 now?
We're in phase 2, yeah.
Phase
Trying to
2.
push
Yeah.
it.
Are we? Is it phase 2? Is that what it is?
Phase
Us,
2
yeah.
here, yeah.
Phase 2. I never quite heard it, but they say there's an uptake in spikes, so to speak.
Down there, you guys seem to be having a lot of fun. Well, Florida and
Yeah.
Arizona.
Yeah.
Lots of fun.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. We'll wait till the end of the summer.
I know.
Right now, hopefully it dies out by the time.
I want to say the second wave, but I don't know if you guys even finished with the first wave yet. have you?
Well, I don't know, dude. I mean, I'm really nervous about this second spike, considering this disease as a 95.7% survival rate.
Yes.
I'm a little nervous.
Yeah.
Can you sense my sarcasm? Okay. 95.7% survival rate, and we're on lockdown. What freaking planet am I on? Anyway, let's talk about some of the scary, wonderful evidence that we have lined up for you guys tonight. We're going to play something called EVP, which stands for Electronic Voice Phenomena. And we have some very creepy sounds to play. Now, I should let everyone know that everyone watching tonight, everything that we play, regardless of how silly or terrifying or boring or wonderful or you name it, everything we play tonight is 100% real. All right? I want to let that sink in for a second. What we're about to play is real. Now, maybe we should give a quick overview of EVP and what it is if you're not familiar with it. And I said it was electronic voice phenomena. But what it is that recording devices can pick up disembodied voices when you least expect it. I think this was discovered in the 1920s and the 1930s, making recordings, and voices would appear. Where did that come from? And so there was a whole level of study that rolled in and continues to this day. And all I can say is I do not know where these voices come from. I have no clue. No clue.
Gareth, can we just point out one
But they are real. Yeah, go ahead, Steve.
Just so the listeners or viewers know that Justin this evening is actually coming to us 80 years in the past.
In the past?
Yeah, he is from the past this evening.
Actually,
And
it's probably 2
and
million
he's
years, maybe longer.
and he's
Well-
making communication with us right now. Actually, can you hear his voice? I can hear his voice.
I can hear him. He's coming from deep within the bowels.
The bowels.
of,
Bowels.
deep within the bowels of the internet, Mr. Justin Villarreal. But yeah, I mean, EVP. It's a fascinating thing. Is when you're recording with a audio recorder or a digital recorder, and you're in a somewhat quiet room, maybe recording some conversation or whatever the case may be, and then when you play the recording back, you get voices or sounds that weren't there during the recording. In other words, they're not audible to your ears while you're making the recording. You only hear them after the fact. Now, I know, I think all of us on tonight's show have had experience with this. Would I be right?
Yeah,
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think we've all run into this phenomena at one time or another. But I know that Steve, Alex, and Justin have run into it specifically while being out on investigations. I've run into the EVP while not being on investigations. I've run into it just unexpectedly, picking up voices and sounds and strange things when I'm not in a haunted area or in a graveyard or whatever the case may be. Excuse me. And voices have appeared on the recording that I'm unable to explain. And I know you're sitting there watching this thinking, that's crazy. You're out of your mind. There's no voices. What are you listening to voices? Voices in your head? Are you mental? As long as the voices don't tell you to kill, you'll be okay.
Yes.
But seriously, this is a very real phenomenon that I have no explanation for. And if you don't believe me, you should try it out yourself.
Yep.
And sooner or later, it'll work. It might not work immediately. It might take days, weeks, or even months. But eventually, you will pick something up that will be unexplainable. You will not be able to explain as to what's causing it or what it is. So where do we begin? We have a list. We have a bunch of EVPs lined up here that we can play. And the first one I think we should go to is the one from Steve, and this is recorded from 2009, and it's called "The Child Singing." You want to lead us into this one a little bit, Steve?
Well, this one was a hidden treasure, really. I mean, I didn't discover it until earlier this year, actually, and it was taken from some video footage that of a location that we've been investigating and researching for many years now. 10 years now. And this was one of the very first times we were in the location. It was an old farmhouse that's been converted into a museum to sort of give you a look into what life was like at the turn of the 1900s there. To see what it was like to live on a farm. But the cameraman was just simply going through the house and documenting, and he was upstairs by himself of this farmhouse, and he was just taking stock footage, really, of the painted pictures on the wall in the hallway. And he came across this one painted picture of a little girl in period dress, and as the camera homed on this picture, all of a sudden you could hear. I don't want to give too much away. I want people to sort of form their own opinion what they hear, but I'll sort of, I guess, add to it after we play it, I guess.
Okay, that sounds like a plan. Okay, so let me shoot over and we'll pull up the screen here. Let's see if I can. You should be able to see the audio right there. Pull it back up. There it is. This is the sound file. Now I'm going to go ahead and play this. Please let me know if you can hear this. Okay, I'm going to put the volume up fairly loud. Now the first part here, you can see where I'm moving my mouse. This part is the actual recording as it was made. And then this part right here, where you can see my mouse moving, this is the recording where the audio has been enhanced, so you can hear it clearer. Okay, so here we go. Let me know if you can hear this in the chat room, please, and please, please, please say that you can. Okay, here we go. Now I'm going to stop it right there. Now that was the first part. That was the unedited, untweaked part. Could everyone hear that? Just could you people in the chat room? And now I'm going to play the enhanced part. Okay, you ready? This is the enhanced part of the audio. Listen to this. Okay, so what did you think of that?
I don't know if Justin has ever heard that before. Have you heard that before, Justin?
No, this is the first time, and you could clearly hear. It's very muffled, but you can clear it like it's in the background, pretty much.
Yeah.
It's a female's voice.
But it's like singing or something, right? You can hear
Yeah.
like a
Singing or
like a
nursery
singing
rhyme.
voice, or now, Steve. When you filmed this, in the film itself, you're actually holding the camera up against there's a painting on the wall of like a young girl.
Absolutely. Yep.
And you're filming the painting.
Mm-hmm.
And correct me if I'm wrong here, because obviously I wasn't there, but it sounds like you filmed the painting. I thought, oh, look at it. Okay, we filmed this. Later on, when you went home and you pulled, the audio,
Mm-hmm.
and you listened to it back,
Mm-hmm.
that's when you noticed the singing.
Yeah.
Would that be accurate?
Absolutely. But note, Gareth, this has been in the vaults for 10 years almost. Nothing has been touched. But I have other footage that clearly shows that cameraman, his name was Mike, was the only person there at the time of this recording.
There was nobody else in the
Nobody
house.
else in the house. Nobody, absolutely nobody. And there was nobody upstairs, upstairs while he was recording this, taking this stock footage. And at the time, that particular visit, there was no females in the house.
That's an amazing piece of evidence. Then that's really quite compelling.
We have Evil Earl here claims that it's clearly a song to him.
Yeah.
Okay. Yep.
Yeah.
There you go.
And we got Studley Constable saying it doesn't sound like it's in English, and he was wondering where was it? Where's
it
the
doesn't sound
farmhouse?
like it's English. Where is the farmhouse?
It quite possibly could be French.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the problem I'm having. Now, I've been reaching out to several experts on turn of that century, nursery rhymes and music, songs, children's songs.
Yeah.
And somebody pointed out that it could possibly be a French song from the turn of the 1900s. Which song, I don't know yet.
Mm-hmm.
We're trying to figure it out, but like I said, hopefully we will soon find out exactly what it is.
But Steve, you found out about this like literally years after it was recorded, right? This wasn't like you've recorded it on Tuesday and found out about it on Wednesday. How long did it take before you actually found out about this stuff?
I mean, I went through that footage initially, and this is the fun about going through footage. When you go literally video, people don't really realize that you can find EVPs on almost any medium, and not a lot of people when they're watching video, they don't really pay attention to the audio.
Mm-hmm.
They're paying attention to the visual to see if anything unusual happens. And I think that's probably what my take was when I initially went through the footage. I wasn't really paying attention to the audio as much as I should have been at the time. But the reason why I found it now was because I am working on a second documentary.
Mm-hmm.
And this footage was going to be, or snippets of this footage was going to be a part of the second documentary.
Okay.
And now it's most definitely going to be a part of it. But now it has me backtracking because I initially had a different direction, but now after finding this, I have an alternate direction now with the documentary where this is concerned.
Now, Alex, were you involved in this? Were you on this investigation or no?
I was not. No.
No, not that time. No.
So what's your take on this?
I've heard some of Steve's other EVPs, and it's clearly something. Obviously, and the problem is that it's hard to make out what it is, unfortunately, and that's what's making it like not necessarily not believable, but you every time you listen to something, you want to be able to make out what it is that it's saying, so that at least you can say, okay, this is what it's saying definitively, and no ands, ifs, and buts about it. But this is one of those scenarios like Steve's going to have to obviously try to see if we can figure out anybody can translate, if it is in fact in French or any other language for that matter.
Mm-hmm. But can you? I don't think you can. See, that's one of the things about EVPs is that you can't always understand what they're saying. Like you'll hear a voice, and it'll clearly be a human voice, and you'll also be able to distinguish whether it's a man or a woman or a child. Those are always very clear, but it's sometimes most of the time actually you can't understand what they're saying. Now there are Class A EVPs where it's very clear and you understand what they're saying perfectly, but for the most of the time the sex and the age. In other words, it's an adult or a child, man or a woman, but it's very difficult to understand what they're saying. So in this case, Steve, where you have it's definitely a female singing, are the words, can you make out the words where they could be translated?
Absolutely. You can, and that's the thing is, if you can find out what song this is, then you can obviously sort of figure out the words.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But what is intriguing about this is the melody.
Right.
The melody. You can actually hear a melody, like a little girl singing a song or a verse.
Let's play it again. Let me pull it up here. Let's play it again. Okay, ready? Here we go.
For some reason,
we got some
I had
a
prayer popped in my head.
It could even be that. Yeah.
A prayer?
Yeah, not that a specific prayer, but the way that just played out to me sounded somewhat like a prayer. Prayers can be melodic in a sense, even in that case. So.
Mm-hmm. So before we move on to the next one, does anyone have any final thoughts on this? This
Google
recording?
Translate.
Yeah, Google Translate. We got the Dalai Lama says one for the stone tape files.
Oh,
yeah, there you go.
The stone tape is
yep.
It's a theory where the environment will record highly emotionally charged scenes or expectances, and somebody with the right mindset. Hey, see that mindset? Someone with the right mindset to go when they go in the room. It's as if you want to give a music example. If the environment is a record and the person is the stylus, is the needle, and they have to be tuned just right to it, so they get the recording is played back from the environment. And
just a note.
Yeah,
Sorry,
go ahead.
Sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead.
Just a note. Like, I mean, if anybody knows anything about this location, and I'll clearly state what because I have permission to.
Mm-hmm.
It's called the Spruce Lane Farmhouse, and if anybody's ever been in this place, it's just absolutely full of energy, like sort of emotional, if anything. Alex has been in there twice now?
Yeah, twice.
I mean, and you can ask him what he thinks about it. Like he's a ghost hunter, but
I am.
but I mean, he had an experience the one time in there. So
That's correct.
Go ahead.
that's correct.
Oh, you want me to say it now, or do you want to wait until the next EVP?
Let's wait for.
Oh, even better. Yeah.
Let's wait for the next EVP then. All right.
Yeah.
So let me close that one out, and we'll go to the next one. Let's see. I have a huge list here. What's the name of the one that you want to play, Alex?
Go with the one that says King Street. I believe says. I don't want to say the name in brackets because that'll give it away. I don't know if you can find it
here. King EVP 1. Is that it?
I believe so. Yeah.
All right. This is with Mike.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Let me open that one up. There we go. Okay, so I got that one open, and the Dalai Lama says he just remembers the stone tapes from that 1970 show with Jane Asher. Yeah, that's right. There was a TV show in the UK. It was a one-off. It was like a TV movie that was made in like 1971 or 72 called The Stone Tape. Where they created a drama around exploring this particular theory, and it was actually really good. It was written by Nigel Keel, the guy who did Quatermass. I think you should be able to find it on YouTube if you search around. I think it's floating around there somewhere, and it's well worth a watch. Okay, here we go. So we got this one lined up here. This one is 675 King EVP1. Does that ring any bells, Alex?
It does. Yes.
All right. Okay. Here we go. All right. Go.
Okay.
Let's go ahead.
You want me to preface it a little bit?
Tell us what's going on here first.
Okay, so essentially this was at a friend's office building. It used to be an old textile factory that got converted into office space. It's about 3 stories high, including the main floor. His office was on the second floor, so the middle. And he kept complaining that every time he went to the washroom area, which is next to the little kitchenette there, that he kept feeling something weird in that area. So one night after all the offices were closed, we went in there and we started doing some recordings. Now, in this recording, it's my friend's voice who you're going to hear demanding the name of whoever's there. And you're also going to hear a beeping noise, which is my EMF meter going pretty much off the charts. And as soon as the EVP stops beeping is when you hear the response. And that's all I'm going to say for now.
All right. Okay. Okay. All right. Here we go. Get ready. Here it comes.
Tell us your name. Tell us your name.
Okay. What did we just hear? Did everyone hear that?
Go ahead, play that again.
Let me play it again. Play it one more time.
Tell us your name. Tell us your name.
So obviously we didn't hear that response, so he kept repeating that statement, tell us your name. But the response was in between the two times he demanded that, and right after the beeping stopped.
And what is the name? Can you make it out?
Well, when we all listened to it, we all came to an agreement that it was Mike McCullen.
Oh wow!
All right, let's see if we can hear that again. Mike McCullen. So we've front loaded your brains now, listeners. So tell me if you can hear Mike McCullen. Check it out.
Tell us your name.
Okay.
Tell us your name.
I heard Mazel Tov.
Mazel tov.
I heard Nerf herder.
Nerve herder. Hey, I hear scruffy looking. So anyone in the chat room, did you hear that, and what did you think? Don't answer all at once.
No, that's most definitely an interesting correlation there. I mean, you could clearly hear the in the background the response happening as well as it correlating with the EMF readers, which is very rare that we actually have that. To be honest with you, so very good, Alex, on that.
Yeah. Now, Alex, when you recorded this, you heard nothing, correct? Nothing at all.
Correct. Yeah.
It was only afterwards.
That's right. So right after we finished recording the recording session, we went back to his office and we started listening to all the recordings that we did that night. And when we got to that section, and I mean, I didn't even have to amplify the audio to hear a response. Now, every time, and I know Steve does the same thing, whenever we go EVP hunting, for lack of a better term, I always tell the people that I'm with, you either don't say a word or you say it loud enough for me to distinguish who it is that's talking.
Right.
So I made sure everybody was quiet except for John, whose voice you hear saying, "Tell us your name."
Mm-hmm.
I even wasn't saying anything. I was beside him with the EMF meter. He was the one holding the recorder. And everybody else, there was a couple other people behind us, and they were being extremely quiet until at least we hit stop on the record, and then everything's back to normal, sort of thing, right? But when we went back and listened to it, and I reviewed the tape, I clearly heard that voice, and I just got it. I got everybody around, and I got everybody to listen to it, and they all heard something. Mm-hmm. It's only until after we heard a couple of times that we all kind of agreed that the name is Mike McCullen.
Mike McCullen. Now, was there any other phenomena that took place over that investigation?
Yeah, well, the EMF meter. So here's the thing: I didn't move when I had the EMF. When that beeping was going off, I didn't budge. So typically, when you go with an EMF meter, if you get close to a source of electricity, it goes off, obviously, right?
Right.
I was in the middle of the hallway, and it was going ballistic. And I stayed still as he was recording. And as soon as he said, "Tell us your name," as you can hear on the recording, after about a second or so, it just dropped from one side to the max on one side to 0 without me even moving.
But was there any cold spots? You know, the standard thing, or was it just purely the EMF and the
It was just the EMF and the recording,
and the EVP. Well, I mean,
aside from the guys, telling me that the guy who actually used the office space, he kept saying that he always felt weird when he walked by that section of the hallway towards the washroom. Aside from that, I didn't personally feel anything while we were there. But he kept saying that, there's definitely something weird going on in that area. So that's why we decided to do the recording in that area.
Well, the Dalai Larper asks a question. Did you do a search for Mike McCullen? Did you do any research to look for that name associated with that building?
We did try. So the building is located in the downtown area of Toronto, a very old section of Toronto, right around. There's a memorial not too far from there. I think it was from the War of 1812 against the U.S., right? Where we fended off the Americans.
Oh, come on, that was the British. For crying out loud, we can't take credit for that.
Well, whatever. But the point is, it took place around that area. You too, Justin. Sorry. So it was in that area, and there's a memorial about maybe a couple blocks away for all the fallen soldiers that died in the battle. So there's a lot of things that occurred in that general area because of that war. Obviously, records are kind of iffy. We tried doing a search on the name, but the problem is that name can be, if we're correct in saying that it's McCullen and not McCullough, like even Evil Earl says, there's different variations of the spelling. There's different.
McCallum. He says it could be.
Yeah.
McCallum.
It could be either one of those, right?
Yeah.
So it was hard to find any reference to we found McCullens, obviously. We found a couple other different variations, but it's hard to say whether any of that was associated with that building particularly, because again, like I said, this building used to be a textile factory, so it could have been just someone who died in the building when that was when it was a textile factory, so it could be nothing to do with the war, right?
Right, exactly. Is that building still there, or
it is there? Yes.
And do you know if anything else has been going on there, or no?
Well, the person that my friend, I don't talk to him any longer, but he didn't stay there too much longer with his office, so he moved offices. So I had no access to that building shortly after this. So to be honest with you, anything could have happened, and I have no idea.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, there was a friend of mine had a pretty terrifying ghost encounter 30 plus years ago, and I remember him telling me the story. And he's from the UK. And last year when I went back to the UK, I finally got him sitting down, and I had my digital recorder, and I recorded like a makeshift interview with him, for him to tell the story once and for all, so we have it recorded. It's on this channel. It's on the Mindset Central channel on YouTube. So if you just search in the channel, you'll see the I forget what it's called, but it's like a Welsh ghost or something like that, and he tells this story. And it's a pretty terrifying encounter. It happened to him when he was like maybe 18 or 19 years old, and the building that he used to work in, it still stands. It's still standing. So I often think, well, I wonder if this is still continuing. And the people that work there now are experiencing this. But it's seek that out if you guys are interested. Just scroll through the videos that are on this channel. It's not a video; it's an audio recording that I uploaded, but it's a pretty good ghost story that just so happens to be true. In other words, I believe him. I don't think he's making it up. I think he's being very, very honest in what he's saying. But what Alex said reminded me. The building is still there. It's been changed so much, but it's still there. And I wonder if people in there are still experiencing those kind of encounters.
I'm sure there are people who are experiencing it.
Yeah, and they're not mentioning it. I think we mentioned this on a show a week or two ago, where we talked about the stigma associated with this, where people, when they experience the strange or the unknown, whether it's something ghostly, whether it's paranormal, whether it's seeing Bigfoot or having a UFO sighting or a close encounter, they tend to keep those things to themselves. Mm-hmm. They don't want to publicly come out and say, "Hey, guess what? Last night I was walking home," and they want to keep it to themselves. Because you don't want to appear to be foolish. Justin, you're nodding your head. Do you want to add to this?
Yeah, it's a constant thing. I take it, at least being involved, as long as I have people or businesses or anything, an institution of some sort, if they are willing to at least tell the story to me but not publicize it, I will believe it more, and that's kind of how I gauge it.
That's true.
Yeah. Well,
let me ask you guys, because you guys are actively investigating. Have you come across someone, well, just like Justin said, where they'll say, "You know what? I'll tell you what happened. You can come and investigate, but I don't want my name associated with this. Mm-hmm. Do not say that it's me." Yep. What? Tell me about that, Steve.
Mainly businesses, really. I mean, it's not so. I mean, you do have some sort of some homeowners that don't want their personal information or anything like that shared, but it's mostly business owners that they like to know what's going on, but they don't want people outside of the association knowing, that this place is haunted, or I've had some sort of experience in here that I can't explain. I don't want people to think I'm crazy. Yeah, I mean, I get that. I get that all the time, right? It's a common occurrence.
How about you, Alex?
Yeah, for me, it was actually my old next door neighbors. They related a story to me, or at least the wife related a story to me that she woke up multiple nights with seeing this sort of dark, shadowy figure at the foot of their beds, pretty much on a nightly basis, until and this is gonna be it's just gonna be funny, and you guys are gonna laugh. But until she put a gargoyle at the foot of the stairs, and you could chalk it up to personal belief, I guess you could say.
It's what they do.
It's almost like the placebo effect, right?
Yeah.
I mean, if you believe it's gonna work, it's gonna work, right? But once she put that gargoyle at the foot of the stairs, it sort of stopped happening.
Yeah.
Right. But yeah, she had, speaking of gargoyles,
Yeah,
Steve's got one going there. Yeah.
Steve's got his gargoyle right there.
That's
is that a
his,
bookend, Steve? Steve, is that a bookend?
No, it's one of the many gargoyles I have.
There you go. Does
You
that keep
remember
away
that gargoyle movie?
Sorry?
Oh yeah, I do kind of remember that. Yeah, there was a movie, like a horror movie, right?
Yeah, an old movie
In the
They were
70s or
gargoyles.
something. Gargoyles.
Yep.
Come on, Steve, you should know about this.
Oh yeah, I remember gargoyles.
And then they did a cartoon.
classic.
For a second, I thought Justin was saying, "Remember that cartoon when Jonathan
Nope.
Frakes did the voice?"
Yeah. Really good cartoon though. Actually,
Gargoyles.
I have a gargoyle here somewhere. Oh darn it, he's somewhere.
Okay.
He's actually somewhere.
Uh-huh. Oh, we got a Studley Constable. Oh, that's a good one. That smile. That's a wicked, evil smile. That's a good one. I like that one a lot. That's pretty cool. Studley Constable says, I know a bar owner who did not want anyone to know his building was haunted. So yeah, it's fairly common. And the Dalai Lama says gestures and rituals lead to malignant this stuff.
Mitigate.
Tend to mitigate gestures and rituals. Yeah, mitigate this stuff. Why would a ritual mitigate a haunting? Can anyone answer
Again,
that?
it boils down to belief.
Belief, yeah.
Right. So magic in general, I know Justin can attest to this. Magic in general is, one imposing their will to make the outcome basically a reality.
That's
and a lot of that has
that's a
to
ritual
do,
too, right?
But rituals are used to sort of focus your mind on the outcome, or basically to focus your mind so that your
It's
will.
like a build-up.
Yeah, exactly. Even with religion, a lot of the rituals that they do, essentially, it's just to help people focus their mind on the outcome of what they want, and that's similar thing with this, with the gargoyle, with my old neighbors. If you believe in something so adamantly, it'll work for you. You know what I mean? If you're doing it for someone else, like if I were to go in and say, okay, you're experiencing this sort of dark entity at the foot of your bed. Here, put this gargoyle there. If the person doesn't believe it, it's not going to work.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It has to come from them. If they believe it, if they truly believe it, then chances are it'll work more often than not.
Dalai Lama also says repetition tends to refocus attention away from this stuff.
Well, yeah, because eventually things just kind of get put in the back of your head. It becomes like a habit.
So you're familiar with ritual and stuff, right, Justin?
Of course, yes, I am, sir.
Right,
I'd be cutting chicken necks and everything. No, I don't. No. Mine's much more vanilla than that.
cutting the chicken necks and everything.
Chicken bone.
So what kind of have you done any rituals that bore fruit that actually worked?
Yeah. Almost all the time. But it's not as quick or as I guess as quick as people believe. Most things take time, and it's a whole discussion in itself. But in the end, it's almost like the amount of work you put into it is what really pushes it forward. But it takes time. It's not like a quick effect. You need some time for it to work its way out.
For sure.
Okay, let's dive into the next EVP, the electronic voice phenomena. Let's see what we got here. I have a list. What about a big sky?
Ooh,
is a
good one.
Is that a good?
This is a good one. It's a creepy one.
All right. Okay. Let's pull that one up. I see Steve is all over this one, so we got to get this one next. So Steve, I'm gonna let you do the honors. Tell us a little bit of how this came to be and what we're about to listen to.
This is taken from Big Sky Horse Farm, and called in because a whole bunch of their horses were spooked and, in fact, injured. And they couldn't figure out why they were being injured and stuff like that. Anyways, this estate was a part of the old Hiram Walker whiskey family, which is very big here in Canada. In fact, so big that during Prohibition, that Al Capone was a visitor to this estate. And anyhow, we were investigating the guest house that was built in the 50s, actually. And the guest house had nothing but problems, a lot of violence and a lot of uncertainty, and a lot of mysterious things happened within it over its period of existence. And in fact, up until recently, there had some painters in to freshen up the place and paint. And the main level, a painter was in this particular room where this recording was taken. And he was up on a ladder painting away, and then all of a sudden something started to strangle him.
Wait, hold on.
Exactly.
Someone grabbed him around the neck and started strangling him?
Around the neck and started strangling him. He fell off the ladder and got up, and, he's looking around. What the hell? Okay, there's nobody around. What the hell just happened?
Uh-huh.
And he fled the place. He didn't return. They've had a lot of problems with people coming in there and trying to freshen up the place because of weird things happening. Anyways, we were in there investigating, and I decided to put a H2 recorder, or actually an H4 recorder, into this very room while we were upstairs. And you could, I'm not sure if you can hear us in the background or not, but what you will hear is a lot of white noise, and then all of a sudden you hear something sort of break that white noise.
Okay.
And bang.
All right, let's jump on over. Here it is. Okay, so I've got the volume on fairly loud. So listeners, viewers, people of Earth, your attention, please. Here we go. Your thoughts?
Sounded like a woman laughing.
Yeah.
Is this it right here?
Yeah.
You missed it a little bit, but...
All right, how about here? And I know this is silly to even ask, but there was no women there.
There's nobody there, no. Absolutely nobody.
Tell us a little bit more, Steve. Can you give us some more background to this? 'Cause this is a good one. Evil Earl says, "Don't front load me, bro."
And that's why I didn't say anything, right? I will neglect saying anything about any of these. I just want you guys to form your own opinion before anything's being front. And let me tell you, that's the way any EVP is sort of investigated or researched. You don't say anything and let everyone else tell you what they hear individually. You never on a general format or whatever individually. But anyways, the house itself. Again, it had gone through quite a lot of violence, actually. In fact, I believe the last family that lived in the house fled. They had so many problems unfold within the house while they were there. I think they were there with a couple years, if that. and just fled. They couldn't handle what was going on. There's just so much, Gareth, that has happened. That's why we centered upon that particular location within the compound to sort of start off with. That was only the start of this investigation.
So there was more to come, or it was more involved in this?
There's a lot of stuff that happened, unfolded in this particular investigation that we can't talk about, unfortunately, because we're binding to permission, obviously. In fact, even though the location has now changed hands, we can't. There's certain aspects that we can't share. That unfolded, unfortunately. I'd really love to tell everybody.
Really?
Let me just say this.
Okay.
This has been the most. I don't want to say stressful, but if there's ever been a true haunting that has really, really, like freaked me out, and it takes a lot for me to get freaked out. I've been through a lot. I've been, well over 300 investigations, and this one in particular is probably at the top of that list as to what happened.
Now, when you say freaked out, is that code for scared?
Not scared, but trying to understand what happened. Trying to make sense of.
I want to know what happened, dude. Tell me right now.
I do too.
I'm hanging up.
I want to know what happened.
Right now. Tell me. I don't give a fuck. Tell me right now. I'm closing this broadcast. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
Unfortunately, that with I have another file, but it's not quite as intriguing as that one to share. Those were the only two that we were allowed to release.
That's fascinating to me that some stuff went on there that you cannot talk about.
Yeah.
So let me ask you this. Don't tell me what happened, but tell me why you can't talk about it.
Binding agreement. We were told that you're allowed to come into this location, barring you sharing any evidence that's shown. They simply don't want any I guess
publicity.
Bad, really. Anything. The area, because number one, the history of the location. The Hiram Walker family is very well known around the world, to be honest. They're a whiskey manufacturer. They're well-known Canadian whiskey manufacturer even to this day, and they didn't want any of that being linked to the actual Hiram Walker name. So what transpired then was like some serious shit. There was like some major activity then, right? It must have been. They're not going to be all, you can't talk about this if it was just like, a creaky floorboard. There must have been something major that went on for them to say, you can't speak about this. Okay, so we have Alex, Pam.
Yeah.
Okay, she is probably one of the only mediums, psychics. I don't like saying psychic. She's more of a sensitive, more of a empath. That I truly do believe has an ability to really sense a lot of stuff. And she, when we were earlier on in this investigation, brought her in to read the location with no prior knowledge of this place at all. Brought her in. She brought the owner to tears with what she said, what she was picking up. She brought the owner to tears with the information.
Very, very accurate information that she pulled out of the air, essentially.
It blew me away.
Wow.
But like I said, you're talking about horses that are being injured with no apparent reasoning. You cannot, like horses are being they actually had to put one down because of the injuries.
Wow.
They could not understand why these horses were being injured.
Was there any history that you picked up or found out that may correlate with something at least? Not, and if you can't explain it in detail,
Well,
something.
because I haven't said the location. Obviously,
Of
the
course.
location is no longer there. But I mean, the location's there, but the name's not.
Of course.
They had brought people out to excavate to put a pool in the backyard by the main house. They had to stop and call the authorities in because they found the remains of a dead body.
Oh wow. Okay.
Wow.
Right? There's a lot of history. You got to remember, there's a lot of history to this place, and we're talking about prohibition.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I mean, there's a lot of unrest there, and a lot of things that people just don't want things to be said. So
Maybe that's where Jimmy Hoffa is.
yeah.
Actually, Steve, we have the owner on the phone. He's saying that you've said too much. We have
to get us
to-
off. He's calling the FBI.
Yeah.
Yeah, he says you said too much.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've had that happen to me already. I had the FBI come to my house.
What? You had the FBI come to your house?
Yes, true story.
Can
Was.
you get into it on the show
yeah.
or no?
Yeah. They already
All right.
know I talk because apparently he made a joke about it.
All right.
I was driving from a job site, and I do weird things, so I tend to tag up my trucks and my cars. and I
No,
put
surely
things on
not.
it.
Please.
Yeah, and so I made a symbol, a sigil essentially. Of
On the
course,
car.
not everyone's familiar with those things, and I put it on my truck. And to whoever made this claim, they thought that it was Arabic. So this was, like 4 years ago or something like that. Somewhere around.
Right. Okay.
And eventually, at some point, they did an investigation on me, came to my house, told me they were the FBI, and wanted to ask about what the symbols and the things that I had on my truck. Of course, if people follow me on Facebook, you can find pictures of my old truck. You can also look for JLV services, and there's pictures of my Ford Ranger with everything on there. And
your truck,
they asked me
on the back of your truck, it said "Death to America," right? Is that what it was?
Yeah, exactly. No, actually, on the back
That was
of my
the sigil.
truck, it said, "We are divided by belief," and that was on the back of my truck that I wrote there. The sigil was on my glass, and I had some, I'm a bit of an occultist, some Solomon symbols on my truck, and I think that just drew their
And
attention.
they thought it was some terrorist shit.
Yes, even
How
though
the
it was.
they figured that was Arabic.
To be honest, too bad I don't got the picture here, but I could see it, and given some Solomon symbols, they're Hebrew, so
Yeah.
I mean, parts of them I guess could be a little weird to someone who's not familiar with that type of stuff. But yeah, that happened to me.
Wow,
Someone reported me to the FBI.
that's insane.
Yeah.
So
Sorry,
did
Justin,
you
that was me.
did you
All these years.
did you finally break down and tell them where the explosives were, or did you? Hold
Yeah,
on.
they let me go. They took all my secrets.
That's crazy, though, man. That's
Yes.
insane that they would pull you over for that.
Yeah,
That's
no,
nuts. All right. Okay. Well, speaking of nuts, let's get into the next EVP that we're going to play for you here. Let's see. I have one here that says Asylum EVP. Would that be a good
That's the
one
I
to
was
play
gonna
next?
ask you.
All right. Okay. So, Alex, tell
sir.
us all about this one, the Asylum EVP.
Well, I kind of touched base on this one already, I think a couple of shows ago. But essentially, this was the Whitby Asylum, which since has been torn down. It's a complex that comprised of multiple buildings. We were in one of the main buildings. There was 4 of us there that night. We split up into two groups of 2s, went separate ways on the top floor. And I was with my friend Jen, who's also claimed to be a sensitive. And we're walking by, and she hits we walk by a set of staircase, and she stops, looks down the set of staircase, and says, "There's something down there." So I told her, let's just finish the floor first, and then we come back, and we'll go down to the main floor, and subsequently the basement. The room that we went into was immediately after the set of staircase, and this is where we caught the EVP. Now, in the EVP, you're going to hear and I have to unfortunately say this. I won't say what the EVP itself says, but you're going to hear a female voice mumbling in the background, and that's my friend Jen.
Mhm.
I wasn't saying anything, but at the same time you hear her voice, you'll hear another voice, and that's as far as I'll say it. I want to make sure that you guys listen to it and see if you can make out what it says.
Okay. Oh, I hear a creak there. Is that a ghostly floorboard?
It is.
Okay.
My damn chair again.
Okay, viewers, listeners, people out there on the interwebs, we're about to play this. Please listen intently and post in the chat box what you think it is saying or it might be. So here we go. Let me get this lined up here. There it is. Okay. All right. Here we go. You hear that?
I heard it.
Justin?
Play it one more time.
All right, one more time. Here we go.
Is it that whispering that I'm hearing?
That's the whispering, yeah.
Okay.
That's what you have to focus on.
Okay, yeah. It took me a bit there, but yeah.
Let me do
That
one
was
more- one-
creepy actually, because that's the second time I heard it caught me, and I just was like, oh wow, yeah.
Let me play it. Let me play it one more time. Okay,
Yeah,
ready?
yeah.
Here we go. One more time.
That is sending chills down my spine.
Yeah.
Literally getting chills.
Imagine how I felt when I heard it.
Holy crap!
Well,
Wow.
let's go back to Alex. So Alex, how did you discover this? Was this like the next day or weeks later or when?
That was
when-
the same night.
Oh, the
actually,
same
when-
night.
The same night after we were done the investigation and we went back home, I immediately started listening to the recordings because we hadn't taken too many, fortunately, because otherwise I'd be there all night long. But when we got to that section of the investigation, I guess, and I'm listening to it, and I hear obviously my friend's voice mumbling something in the back, and it's funny because when I heard it, when I listened to it a couple of times, I could hear the whisper clearer than I could hear her when she was mumbling.
Yeah.
And it just like Justin said, it like I had goosebumps going down, all my arms and everything because, and I'll explain why in a second. But I don't know if you want me to say what I think it says yet, or if you want to have everybody guess first.
Well, we have like a couple. So the Dalai Lama says it sounds like a man whispering, which we can agree on. And then Stutley Constable says, I hear a couple of different and distinct words, but I don't want to front load. So let's go to Steve. Steve, did you hear it? And what do you think it says?
I hear the whispering, but I can't make it out.
Yeah.
I
Can't make it out.
no.
But definitely a male, though, right?
It sounds male, yes.
Mm-hmm.
After I
Alright.
tell you what I think it says, I think you'll hear it.
Okay. All right, Justin, what do you think?
Yeah, to me it sounds, if anything, like a it's hard to say, but like a younger male, and most definitely.
But you have an idea of what it says, you think?
No, I agree with
Okay.
Steve. It's hard for me.
All right. Evil Earl on the broadcast says, I got nothing. I got nothing.
Well, it took me like the third time to hear it, so
Yeah.
I mean, it's a possibility. Yeah.
We had a sound engineer listen to the clip and actually run it through an audio analyzer, and he confirmed that there's two distinct wave patterns on that recording. So there's definitely a second voice there. And then we had someone else try to clean up the background noise as much as possible because there's a lot of static, not static, but like I said, my friend's like kept on mumbling throughout the whole thing, and that's what kind of muddles it a lot, right? But do you want me to say what I think it says?
Yes, tell us.
Okay.
Put us out of our misery.
So, remember when I said just before I took this recording, my friend stopped at the stairs and said there's something down there.
Yes.
So if you listen to the recording again, one of the words you're going to hear distinctly now that I'll tell you is down the stairs.
Down the stairs are the words.
Yeah. Just listen to it again,
Okay.
and I'm
All right.
pretty sure
Play
you'll...
that one more time.
All right, I'm going to play it again, okay? Here we
All right,
go.
Evil Earl, listen.
Okay. Everyone listen very carefully. Down the stairs. Listeners, viewers.
Down the stairs.
Shh, you're going to spoil it. Okay, here we go. I'm playing right now. Here we go.
Yeah.
Stutley Constable says he heard that too. He heard down the stairs.
So
Yep, that was clear.
When,
Yeah.
when we cleaned it
around
up...
here? Let me just play it again.
Yeah.
Is that it?
Yeah, that's
Right
it.
there.
Right there. Ready? Watch. There you go.
So
Okay.
this is not the
creepy.
cleaned up version, though. But the cleaned up version, we had to, because it got obviously
Yeah. The
kind of
distortion
distorted a bit. But
Yep.
we tried to bring the voice as far forward as possible.
Yeah.
When we played it, we had to play it on a big stereo system to be able to actually hear it properly. And what we all agreed...
So low.
Yeah, exactly. When we all agreed that it said, when we all listened to it after it was cleaned up, because everybody who is still here is down the stairs.
Mhm.
Now...
And that's the problem when you have to clean up too much.
Yeah, exactly.
You kind of wonder, is it really worth it?
No, it's not. But I mean, for the sake of us knowing what it was that we were listening to, we had to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Now, to further that story, that building in the basement is the building that housed the morgue for the complex. Right?
The
So
morgue?
that's, yeah. So, you know, when you go in the morgue and you see all those refrigerators where they store the bodies, that's what we saw when we went down eventually to the basement of that building.
The morgue.
Yes.
Whoa.
Jesus.
I think Justin saw a ghost.
Yeah, I just got spooked.
Did you see a ghost, Justin?
No. I was so caught up in listening to Alex. I'm looking at the camera here, and my girlfriend comes in just to say goodnight.
Oh, there you go.
And I spooked the hell out.
That'll do it. That'll do it for you every time, man. we caught that on the show too. So yeah, down the stairs. That's a great one, Alex. That's a real good one.
Down the stairs.
Down the stairs. Like I said to everyone at the beginning of the show, though, we don't have any real explanation as to what this is.
No.
We have no idea. But the only thing we're certain of is that these recordings are real, right? They're not hoaxes. They're not, just us goofing around and acting stupid and making silly recordings. They're real. These really did happen. But we have no explanation as to what's causing it, what the mechanism is behind it that makes these things happen. Let's see. Dalai Larper says, looking for EVPs in a morgue, talking about going to the horse's mouth.
Yeah, definitely.
I noticed that a lot of ghost hunters though love going to the morgues and stuff, and like where they put them all on the slabs and stuff. A lot of these shows.
I've always said I wanted to do this.
That's where I've had some of my sexual
I wanted to,
experiences.
not necessarily the morgue, but I wanted to go and do a recording at the mausoleum where my parents are buried.
Oh, okay.
So one of these days I'll do it.
You see, I would go to somewhere, if you're looking for somebody in particular, I'd go to somewhere where they were their favorite place. I would never go to a cemetery or a morgue or whatever else, because by that time, if anything, in theory, they're gone.
I could agree with that. Yeah, okay.
However,
Go ahead.
if it's a loved one, and if the theory is correct, if you call out to them, regardless of where they are, they should come to you. The only reason why I said I wanted to do it at the mausoleum is because it's a very quiet place.
Yeah.
provided that there's nobody else in there, obviously.
Yeah.
What?
You might pick something up.
Right, and that's the whole point, right? So that's why I wanted to do it there, because it's very difficult to go and do an EVP recording outside, or
Yep.
even if I wanted to go somewhere where my mom or my dad love to go, it's very noisy. In there, at least, it's relatively quiet. Hopefully there won't be anybody else in there, and I'll call to them, and hopefully I'll get something.
And maybe bring an item or something that is close
A trigger.
to them. Something, a trigger. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, sure.
For me, it'd be very easy because my mom and dad love to go to the morgue, so it'd be 2 birds with 1 stone.
Yeah.
Sorry, I couldn't resist. Let's try another EVP here. I have the list in front of me. There's one here that kind of leaps out at me. It's called Spruce Lane Laughing.
Mm-hmm.
Who recorded this? Is that you, Steve?
That's mine. Yeah.
That's one of yours. All right. You want to give us the lowdown on this one?
So again, this is the famous Spruce Lane farmhouse. You heard earlier. You heard one from there. This again it's sort of an enigma, like most of it. Very subtle but very distinct. Again, it gives it away. The title gives it away. There's nothing to really say. Oh, what do you think it's saying? Because it's not
just
really
laughter,
saying.
right?
It's just laughter.
But what? Give us the background as to how this was recorded. What were you doing? When did you discover it? That kind of thing.
Again, it was discovered right after pretty much right after within a couple hours of the recording itself. And again, you clearly hear something that's generally not there at the time.
All right. Okay. Let's play this thing. Okay, here we go. Everyone ready?
Let's go.
Then we shall begin. Here we go. Everyone hear that?
One more time, please.
Okay, here we go. Let me boost up the volume a little bit. All right, here we go. Ready?
That was taken in the attic of the Spruce Lane farmhouse, and there was nobody up in the attic. What you're hearing voices of people talking that were down below, but you hear something very distinct close to the recorder up there by itself.
Did you hear it, Justin and Alex?
Yep.
I heard a little bit of it. Is that like in the beginning of the recording? Did I hear kind of
pretty
like
much
a sigh almost? Wasn't it?
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay.
Yeah.
If you want to play it one more time?
Yeah, let me play it.
Dalai Larper just said that. It's a lady sighing in agreement or something.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lady sighing in agreement. All right, let's play it one more time. Here we go. I see you nodding. You got it that time, Justin, right?
Correct. Yep.
Alex?
Yep.
All right.
I was privy to this EVP before.
You've heard it
was
before,
even on the
right?
show. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You were there that night, weren't you, Alex? Were that
I don't know if I was there that night, but I did
were.
hear it. Was that the night I was feeling sick?
I think so, yeah.
Oh, that was the incident. Okay.
Is that the burrito?
No, not the burrito. Not.
One of the many times, Justin.
Dolly Lapper says that was very clear.
Yeah.
So I remember you telling me about this incident, Steve, and I remember you saying that for no apparent reason, when you were in the building, Alex got sick.
Not only him, but we had actually Gord, Dr. Demon Gord.
Yeah.
He had a similar incident unfold at a different time, unbeknownst to not knowing Alex's incident.
Yeah.
It was quite odd.
It was after mine, right?
It was after yours, yeah.
Yeah.
And another friend of ours, the '70s porn star.
Oh, the 70s.
Whoa,
I really need to hang out with you
What do you
guys.
mean? The '70s porn star?
Our good friend Richard Palmisano, who came in and was a part of actually that was in the last investigation. He had a tri-field meter, and he was really intrigued with one particular area, and that particular area was the exact area that Alex had his incident and Gord had his later on.
Wow.
And to this day, it's unexplainable.
Interesting. Now, there's another EVP here listed. Let me just close this one out.
A few of them from
This is also Spruce Lane #1 from July 2014. You want to play that? Should we play that one next? Oh no, there's another. Which one do you think is the best one? There's another one here that says Spruce Lane Farmhouse Coughing.
Play that one. That one's pretty intriguing.
That's a good one.
What you're going to hear is this recording was taken from the front parlor room. And the front parlor room back in the day was used as, if somebody had passed away, it was used as a viewing area. And the first original owner, George, when he passed away, they had his viewing in that particular room, the front parlor room. And it was said that he had a lung condition, some sort of condition that made him cough, and he was a smoker, a heavy smoker. And what you're hearing is you're going to, the recorder is on the fireplace within the front parlor room, and you're going to hear us talking in the background in the dining room area, which is across the house, across the upstairs stairs to go upstairs, and in the next room. So you're going to hear us, and then all of a sudden you're going to hear something very distinct to the room itself by the recorder in the front parlor room.
Okay. All right, let me switch over here. There we go. This is the actual recording right here. Okay. Everyone pay special attention. Listeners, viewers, if you have headphones, put them on. If not, get real close to your speakers on your computer, on your laptop or your desktop or your iPad or whatever you're using. Here we go.
That's the beauty of Victoria. It doesn't have to go together.
Yeah, I get. Move the decorators up a bit right now.
That one's the only one I didn't hear.
That was more upstairs. It wasn't like the one we were hearing here. No.
So you hear the initial sort of that, and then you hear something else later on, like a door slamming or a cupboard closing, shutting, closing, slamming, whatever.
Justin, Alex, what do you think?
I heard the initial part.
Yeah, I heard the cough clearly.
You heard the cough? Yep.
Yep.
And Steve, there was absolutely nobody coughing at the time, right? Nothing.
No, there's nobody in that room at the time. No.
It was only after the fact when you played. I want to ask you, because this is the some of the most amazing parts. The Dalai Lama says, "Jesus, that ghost had a cough, a coof. He had a coof.
He had a coof.
And any phantom farters.
A phantom fart, yeah, the phantom fart.
We got plenty of those.
But that's, I mean, when you go out on an investigation and you pick something up, well, you don't know. You're on an investigation. You go home. The next morning you might, hook up you put your headphones on and you start listening to the recordings from the night before. When you pick something up, how does that feel? What goes through your mind when how do you feel when that happens?
I just, before I get into that, I just want to add, if somebody was coughing, if somebody was talking, or if somebody was making some sort of noise, it's usually documented. There's usually a voice stamp. if it's one of us. Like if I cough like that,
Uh-huh.
I'll say that was me, Steve, coughing
Yep.
right now. And everybody who is a part of the society will point that out. It's a common thing. But in terms of finding something like that, it's really I think rewarding, because I mean this is what you're there doing. This is what you're hoping to. But what is even more rewarding is being able to tie whatever you're finding to the history of the location. If
Yeah.
you can tie these incidents, these audio recordings, if you will, to the history of the location, then you're getting somewhere.
Yeah, I agree. Let's we're rapidly approaching the end of the show, so let's pick the best one. What's a real good one to play next? Steve, Alex, Justin.
I would play DeForest.
Which one?
DeForest.
The Forest?
DeForest, or do you have
I'm looking
do you have
for it. Let's check.
Waverly? Waverly.
Yeah, there's two Waverleys. There's
It's the same file, but it was taken from two different recorders.
okay, so one is Leanne, one is Rob. Which one should I
Yeah.
play? Which one first?
Play the Rob one first.
Okay. All right, let me set that up.
So I'll set this up for you. So
Okay,
anyways, many people out there will know, are familiar with Waverly Hills Sanitarium in Kentucky, Louisville, Kentucky. This was taken in one particular room where we had security cameras hooked up. We had a real big heavy ball set up on a quarter. We had a whole bunch of recorders going on in the room next to it, and an EVP session going on. At the time that this went off, I also have video footage of a ball moving off a quarter,
Oh wow.
rolling around, and then moving back right back to the top of the quarter.
That's amazing.
Yeah,
You have-
it was one of the,
You have
one of the-
you have footage of this?
I absolutely do. Yes.
That's
Bring that on.
amazing. Yeah, we got to see that, dude.
Anyhow,
Part 3.
yeah. Anyhow, this
Trilogy.
particular EVP that you're going to hear happened within minutes or seconds of this happening.
Okay. All right, let's line it up here. Okay, here's the EVP. Get ready, everyone. Okay, here we go.
Did you bring that tennis ball to us?
Could anybody please make a noise?
So you're hearing Rob, who is one of the investigators at the time, ask a question about a ball, and then all of a sudden you hear a response, and then you hear another woman talking who was there at the time. So the response is in between Rob talking and the female sort of, is
Response.
there anybody here?
Okay, let me play it one more time. Here we go.
Did you bring that tennis ball to us?
Could anybody please make a noise?
Alex?
Yeah, I heard. It sounded like a little girl.
Uh-huh. Justin?
Yeah,
I couldn't make out what she was saying, but it's definitely a little girl's
Like a-
voice.
Justin, what
Yeah,
do you
the
think?
same. It sounds like a little girl. It came about, I believe, the second interaction or the second voice I heard, and that's when I heard it come in.
Can you make out any words or just
No, just the sound. Yeah,
Mhm.
I have horrible hearing too.
No.
All
It's
bunch of metal music and all that. Yeah.
Let me break it down for you that possibly there are two responses in there.
Yeah, I kind of. Yeah, go ahead.
Now,
I got that.
Gareth, if you play the Leanne one, you sort of get a better
Okay, all right.
gist for it's the same recording, but from another recorder in a different angle of the room.
Okay, let me.
But you got both of these recordings on both those recorders, you're saying?
Absolutely, the same recording on
That's
two different recorders.
Okay, now that is amazing. If you're picking up the same voice on two separate recordings, that's staggering.
And what you can notice is the
amazing.
first sort of response is kind of it's muffled a little bit, where the second sort of is a little bit in the fore. It's sort of make it out a little bit better.
Hang on, bear with me, guys.
No problem. Dalai Lama was saying, have you ever recorded any EVPs at places known to have murders?
Oh,
Dalai
absolutely.
Lama. Did the Dalai Lama join us? The Dalai Larper.
Oh, yeah, Dalai Lama.
Yeah, several times. I've been in several locations where yeah.
Okay, all right. Here, let's get ready. Let's play the sound now. Okay, here we go. Volume's on full. This is the same location, the same sound, different recorder.
Different recorder in the same room at the same time. Yeah.
Okay, here we go.
Did you bring that tennis ball to us?
Could any...
You guys hear that?
Yep.
I heard a little bit of that there towards the beginning.
All right, let's do it one more time. Here we go, one more time. Actually, let me try and make it a little louder. Put it up just a little bit. Oh, that's a lot, but okay, here we go.
Did you bring that tennis ball to us?
Could any...
You hear that?
Now you see the difference in the two recordings. You hear the same thing, but the first response isn't as prevalent as the first recording, where the second sort of the lagging response is sort of a little bit to the forefront, where in the first recording you can't really make out anything. It seems like a single response, where this sort of breaks it up in two.
It almost seems like the first response, whoever did the response, is closer to that recorder, and the second response, this was closer to the second recording.
Absolutely, yeah. I fully agree with that. Yeah.
Dalai Lama says, yeah, he can hear it also. Yes, sir. Yes, I can. I can hear it. I say yes.
And were you apparently stoking the boiler there, Gareth?
I was. I was stoking the boiler while we were in mid broadcast. That's the kind of work ethic I have. I continually stoke the boiler.
He's gonna have enough steam for the generator.
Exactly. Exactly. Very good. Well, gentlemen, we've kind of reached the end of another action-packed Mindset Live. It's been awesome, as always. Always a pleasure to talk to you guys, and always a pleasure to go over some of these strange, ghostly evidence. I want to thank the viewers / listeners for tuning in and checking us out. Don't forget, please, to subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. Please hit that subscribe and the bell icon down at the bottom there, so you'll be notified when we do this again next week, as we will.
We need a part 3. We need a part 3.
Yeah.
we need a part 3 and a part 4. But I was thinking, guys, and I want to run this by you before we actually make it solid. I was thinking maybe next week. Maybe, I say maybe. Would you guys be interested in doing a show next week on the legendary and infamous Highgate Vampire?
Ooh, I'd love to do that.
Sure.
That would be awesome.
That would be fun, huh?
That would be really cool.
I think that would be very fun to do a Mindset Live on the Highgate Vampire, the vampire infestation of Highgate Cemetery in London.
I'm sure you get some bogus bishop trolls.
I hope so. It would be kind of cool to get the mental patients out of the asylum
Yeah.
and tuning in to but I think that would be a fun show to do.
Sure.
I think we should talk about the details off air. But viewers, people tuning in, I think it'll be a show that you'll be interested in. If you're unfamiliar with the Highgate Vampire, after the show, you'll be very familiar in the tale and how wonderful it is. So we'll do that next week then. So next Monday, tune in for the Highgate Vampire Spectacular on Mindset Live. It'll be a live broadcast where we discuss the vampire infestation of Highgate Cemetery in London in the late 1960s to the early 1970s. It'll be great. All right, let's wrap this up. See where everyone can be finding everyone. Some people are on hiatus, but you can still give your details. Steve, where can people find you on the interwebs?
You can find Nocturnal Frequency Radio live every Sunday night between 9 and 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on the New Visions Radio Network, which is www.newvisionsradio.com. Currently, we're in summer hiatus, but we'll be back September with some new live broadcasts then.
Excellent. Alex, I know you're going to say the exact same thing as Steve, but please go ahead and say it.
Yeah, that's exactly what Steve said. However, there's a good chance that we may do a summer special show.
Yeah, even more.
Stay tuned.
Awesome.
Join the Facebook group, and we'll provide more details as they come up.
And buy a shirt.
Buy a shirt. There you go.
Yeah,
And a coffee mug.
And a
coffee mug. Yeah, and I have a hoodie too.
Justin, where can people find you on the Information Superhighway?
Yeah, you can find me at the anonymousrealnetwork.net or the anonymousrealnetwork.podbean.com.
Anything coming up?
Just the same old. We got we do have a couple shows that we're recording right now, so in time, just keep updated there, and we'll get them posted.
Dude, when are we gonna do the Hell Yeah show? Come on, man! I'm fucking chomping at the bit for that shit.
Oh yeah, no, it's happening.
Get the wheels turning here, man. Hook me up.
Yes, and everyone tune into that as well.
All right, awesome. Well, once again, thanks for everyone for tuning in and spending your Monday evening with us. I hope you've enjoyed the show. Please tune in next week where we'll do the Highgate Spectacular. Please subscribe to the channel, and we'll see you all very soon. So let's all collectively wave goodbye, everybody. Goodbye, everybody. Goodbye.
Have a good day.
Okay, see you next week, guys. Bye.
Bye.